Yesterday, Republicans on the House Oversight Committee sent a letter to HHS and Acting National Institutes of Health Director Lawrence Tabak demanding the NIH release the information redacted on hundreds of pages of documents concerning the institute's relationship with EcoHealth Alliance and support of gain-of-function research in Wuhan, China.
So The Intercept sued the NIH over public records related to coronavirus research funded by the institute that officials originally refused to release.
In response, the NIH sent The Intercept 314 pages of documents, 292 pages of which were, look at this, completely redacted. Look at that. That is outrageous. So it looks like you've got a lot of reading ahead of you, Ryan.
We do.
You got it right there. That is an impressive stack.
And so, so here's one unredacted page.
Yes,
but
you get
after this,
cover.
Very good. I can read
there you
that.
go.
All right. Not much
That's
there.
helpful. That's
Yeah.
helpful. All right.
It's all like that?
So, very helpful.
Keep it going.
Very helpful here.
Yeah, this is going to be some speed reading here.
Very helpful. Find anything there?
Oh, yeah, no, hold on. If
So-
you hold it up to the light, I'm pretty sure then you can finally see
So
something.
one thing that might be going on here is that because of our lawsuit, because of the Intercept's lawsuit against NIH, they're required to produce something like 500 pages a month or so. And so here's 500 pages.
Yeah.
Now,
Literally.
we're not certain that this is their method of kind of getting around the requirement, but it's a giant document. It's the NIH Strategic Plan for COVID-19 research from April 2020. It's unlikely that there's anything terribly newsworthy or interesting in here, but it's like a almost 400-page report, so that satisfies 400 plus pages. The report. Now I'll let my kids draw on these, so we don't have the
We're not killing
NIH's
trees here, don't worry.
obfuscation end up just destroying trees for no reason. And then there are a couple pages of actual emails. I definitely owe you a beer or something when this is over, 3 exclamation points.
Looks
Who
like
said
they owe
that?
you a beer, too.
Who said that?
This is from Lillian Abbey, somebody at the NIH. So, I mean, it turns out there's nothing really newsworthy in these either. We've gone through those. But so House Republicans sent this letter yesterday to HHS saying, come on, stop with this.
How ridiculous.
And it was House Republicans earlier who were able to, what they do, they call it in camera, which means like in person, they were able to take a look at the actual documents that were unredacted and had been given to us redacted, and they took notes on those documents. And so they were then able to share those notes publicly. So they're not releasing the unredacted documents, but it'd be just an absolute nightmare for some poor hapless committee staffer to go in and have to try to write down 450 pages of this thing. And to me, it's just a portrait of lack of transparency. It's like, just come on.
Yeah, and this is a government agency. So we, the people, should be able to see. There you go. Lots of heavy reading for you there, Robby. We should be able to see what is going on with our tax dollars. I mean, a lot of this is our money that is being used to fund this research potentially. And we want to know about it. We want to know. They don't want to tell us, obviously. I mean, look at this. This is outrageous.
I filed a totally different subject. I filed a public records request with the New York City Human Rights Commission right before the pandemic, and then for 2 straight years, they would just send me an email every couple of weeks saying, no, our office is still closed because of the pandemic. Didn't need anyone to go into a physical office. I needed them to send me some emails that I had asked for. They could have done this from any computer in the country, but because the office was closed, the pandemic, it couldn't help me.
This just makes us more suspicious, doesn't it?
Right.
I mean,
that's the other thing. It's just
Yeah.
absolutely fuel for people who are deeply suspicious of what they're up to.
Because what they're up to is bad. I think
Might be.
Well, clearly,
we can't say it's not.
Right, but this way we can't
bad.
say either way, right? We have to sit here and say, well, we don't really know because they're not showing us. But it makes us believe that there's something, they clearly have to hide something.
Right.
They might not even know what they're hiding. Like, this is a giant stack of documents. Like, no one person knows everything that's in here, right?
Yeah.
This shows government bureaucracy expands, and like people are signing off on projects and grants, and they have no idea what everybody else is doing. And this is like I don't believe there's a single government official who even understands the scope of the documents that you've requested, right?
Probably not a single individual one, yeah. And that's actually probably one thing that higher ups are nervous about. Because they're like, well, what's in it I don't know about?
No, right. And they probably don't know. They probably don't know.
Right.
That's funny. Well, enjoy. This will be some interesting weekend.
And this is all about. And this is all about the U.S. government funding of research in Wuhan.
Yeah.
What were we funding, and what was the rationale for that funding? Was it in violation of the ban on gain of function? You ask Anthony Fauci.
He says no.
He says, well, gain of function. What does
that even mean?
What are words, really?
Manipulating a virus so that it is more contagious and lethal, and then letting it escape from a lab?
That's not gain of function anymore.
Mehdi Hassan, my former colleague, who's now at MSNBC, is one of the few that has pressed him directly on this, and that was his response. What does gain of function really mean when you get down to it? Because he's a huge advocate of gain of function research.
Right.
But then when you press him, well, was this gain of function? Well, we've determined it wasn't.
Yeah.
Well, what was it? Tell us what it was. Well, don't worry about it.
Well, and this is just meant to tie you guys up in court. They're doing this so that you have to go back to court. You're going to have to ask the judge to lift the redactions on this.
Right, because they'll say, look, we reproduced 500 pages of documents as required by your court order.
Right. They didn't say how many words needed to be per page that you could actually read.
Well, and scientists, health officials, government scientists, health official people have massive incentives to not give any information that makes the lab leak theory more likely, because then the policy implications of that, right, is greater regulations of labs. Is telling the Dr. Frankensteins they can't keep doing what they're doing without scrutiny, and they don't want that. Even if that's not the explanation.
That's right.
Any additional information in that respect makes it more likely they get regulated. The American people look more closely at what is being funded and what are the actual practices of the lab, and they just want to play in their sandbox without any.
Right, and there are plenty of scientists who earnestly believe that gain of function research is going to make the world a better and safer place. That's their genuine position, and some of those scientists from that position deeply want to discourage people from exploring the lab leak hypothesis, because then they think that if that hurts the research, it makes the world a worse place. Plenty of other scientists and plenty of members of the public say, maybe there's some benefit to that research. There are also some significant costs.
Some scientists think bringing back dinosaurs and releasing them on the planet would be a cool idea.
Yeah.
But
nice experiment.
We don't listen to them.
Yeah.
So tomorrow on Rising, Public Defender Olaimi Alurin will join us to discuss the humanitarian crisis happening on Rikers Island.
We also talked to congressional candidate Alexandra Hunt.
And for you podcast lovers, Rising is now available everywhere you listen to podcasts. So do us a favor, give us a 5-star rating and review, because it helps people find the show.
I love this graphic.
Isn't it cool?
I love this. I said on Twitter, it was the vibe shift.
Vibe shift.
Totally.
Back to a happier time. The 80s?
The 80s.
The 80s.
We're a happier time. Well, they led into a much happier time.
And we have a threat of nuclear annihilation again. So
right.
It does feel like the 80s all over
again.
Well,
this time as it did last time.
Yeah. Rocky 8 needs to be coming around. Is there already a Rocky 8?
That's the sequel one with Creed, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Isn't it the same? I've actually never seen a single Rocky movie.
Oh, they're so good.
Are they good?
They're so good.
All right, well, maybe I'll do that this weekend. Bye, everybody.
While Ryan is reading his paper.
Yeah, you're going to read.
I got a lot of reading to
watch
catch up on.
movies.
All right, bye-bye.